I like what they talk about.
Oh, a terrific show.
I listen to their show every morning.
98.7 Kiss Country.
7:36, lots of sunshine, a little bit of a breeze out there, which we're going to be glad we have because lower 90s for a high today. Tuesday mornings, we like to talk to Pete and get the latest on the road updates. And I don't know, Pete, does this heat have anything to do with how construction is going to go on today?
Well, obviously with the workers, the contractors, and our DOT employees out there, their safety comes first. So, a lot of shade where possible and a lot of water. And that's the big thing. If you're pouring concrete, you probably wouldn't want to do it on a day like today just because of the high temperatures and the way it cures. And we have actually had times, I know we did last year down by Rockwell, and I believe down in Hampton too, when they had bridge deck pours, they poured them at night to avoid the heat. So it was better for the concrete and for the workers, even though they were up all night, but still it wasn't quite as physically demanding with the heat. So yeah, it definitely plays a role.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything special at all that you can, if you need to, if you're in a crunch for like curing the cement in weather like this?
Yeah, they do have ways. They cover it, and they cover it with burlap usually. Then they wet it down so it'll slow down the curing process a little bit. It's different approaches, and like I said, if we have to, we can do it. I'm not a complete expert on it, so that's just kind of giving you a general overview of it. But yeah, they can cover it up as fast as they can, and like I said, keep it wet and cooled so it will help out and give us a better product in the long run.
I'm not a smart man, Pete, but what happens if it dries too quick? Does it crack easier, or just?
I believe it does crack easier, yes, and it affects the life of the concrete. It's not as strong, and it doesn't hold up as well.
Huh? Yeah. It seems like you're always doing road work, not you, but anywhere you go, it's like more construction. Is it ever going to end?
Well, when you look at it, and we've got 19 counties in our district, that's a lot of roads, that's a lot of ramps, and it's all been built at different times. So everything comes up and needs repair or reconstruction or resurfacing in different times. So yeah, I think there's job security in knowing that there will always be road work. And we've talked about it before too, the freeze thaw cycle, where you get the moisture into the roadway and then it freezes at night, and that causes the most damage. And we are one of the worst states actually with the freeze thaw cycle. Yeah, we have like the longest stretch of like in the spring and the fall where it does get warm enough where moisture or snow will melt, and then at night it gets cold, and then the process continues the next day. So yeah, Iowa's actually one of the worst states in the country with the freeze thaw cycle. So
all right.
Congratulations.
We got something going on for us here in Iowa.
It's almost better like up in where I'm from, North Dakota, where it gets cold and it stays cold. You don't get a winter thaw or anything like that very often. So it's cold all the way through. So you don't have as many freeze thaw cycles. So yeah, it plays a part in it.
Yeah, see, I would think that like Minnesota would be one of the top ones, but they're in North Dakota. Like North Dakota, it stays colder up there.
Yeah, and maybe southern Minnesota is probably pretty close because obviously that's right across the border from us. So I'm sure they have more of the freeze thaw issues as well than maybe northern Minnesota does.
Yeah. Huh. So you have anything new coming up that's starting, or things that are wrapping up here for people?
Well, we do have, we've started our interstate patching program that we do every year. That started last week, and they're south of Clear Lake right now, about 15, 20 miles south of Clear Lake, but they'll be moving up north all the way up to the border, and they could be in the Clear Lake area by the end of this week. US 69 north of Lake Mills, they've done a lot of work on the shoulders, getting them widening with the asphalt. They should be working on the gravel shoulders on the outside of that this week. The US 65 deck overlay in the northbound lanes just north of Mason City, that's still moving on. They will hopefully be switching sides, finish the one side and switch over to the other side in a couple weeks. Charles City, the resurfacing project in town and new storm sewer, as well as resurfacing east of town, continues to move ahead. The detour is still in place. That should be there till probably late August. Iowa 9 between Fertile and I-35, that's on pause now. They've got all the asphalt and everything down, but they should be back in like mid-August to start working and putting in the rumble strips. Bridge approach on I-35 near about milepost 187, and that's about 5 miles south of Clear Lake. That's going to start on August 9th. So you got a little while yet, but just a heads up that will be coming again. There'll be a single lane closure. And then we're doing, we've been talking about some of the railroad track repairs or the approaches on either side of the railroad tracks with the new asphalt. They're doing one down on 169 south of Livermore. That started yesterday, so that is detoured, and that should be opened up by this Saturday. But I think that pretty much covers what's going on in our area right now.
The new ones that you mentioned, I mean, these must be shorter projects because we're getting towards the end of the construction season.
Yep, that is correct.
So these won't be lasting quite as long because I hate to say it, but colder weather, cooler temperatures.
Tell you what, man, the way this summer has gone, it's going to be like you're going to snap your fingers and it's going to be September. So yes, you are right. They are projects that will be wrapping up by the end of the year. The Dumont Bridge too, update people on that. We're hoping that by mid-August, that should be opened up to the public. So we appreciate everybody's patience on that one. That's a long bridge. There was a lot of work with the bridge itself. There was a lot of work with as far as flood control. We changed the dike there to protect the area a little bit more. So that was a big project, and it's moving ahead. So hopefully by mid-August we'll have that thing open.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So it's always good to get the updates. And of course, if you missed it and you're just tuning in, you can always go back and watch it on our YouTube and 98.7 Kiss Country Facebook page with the updates. And you can fast forward, rewind, or whatever. Skip through this part. And
that part's boring. Go ahead.
Exactly. Let's get to the meat of conversation. How many days until NFL football? The Vikings.
Yeah, it's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's crazy.
Looks like we still got to face Aaron Rodgers. Looks like he's gonna, he's whining like he always does, but it looks like he's still gonna be playing, I guess.
Yeah, no surprise. I don't think he'll be there next year, but I was pretty sure he'd be playing this year.
Yeah, but will his heart be in it? That's the fans got to be asking and going. He don't get along with management. There's going to be a problem throughout the season. I can guarantee it.
And it's going to open him up for criticism too. If he does struggle, everybody's going to say his head's not in the game. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a big believer that if you signed a contract, you show up and you honor that contract. But
absolutely,
that's why I'm sitting in a DOT office in Mason City and not in a headquarters in Minneapolis or Green Bay or wherever.
But yeah. I mean, it's not like he hasn't been criticized over the years before, because usually every time he gets a girlfriend during the football season, that's usually a distraction. That's why he's not playing well.
Yeah, well, he's seemed to do okay.
Yeah,
he was MVP last year, right?
Yeah. Did he get MVP last year?
I believe so. I'm not positive, but I think so.
MVP of whining.
Yeah.
But as you can tell, I'm not a big Packer fan.
Oh wow!
Actually, I'm more so. I like the Packers more than I like Aaron Rodgers.
I will second that.
Oh boy! But some people said, "Oh, what if he comes to Minnesota?" I said, "I will not watch." He's one. The only one that came from the Packers that I'll watch that it was Brett Favre.
Yeah, I agree. I always respected Brett Favre, even though he played for the Packers. I always respected him, the way he played, and just his enthusiasm and his competitiveness. He was fun to watch, even though you had to play him twice a year, and it didn't usually end well for us.
Well, you lived and died by the arm of Brett Favre, and
that's no doubt.
That's the only reason I ever watched the Packers. Pete, was because I wanted to see how big he was going to win or how bad they were going to lose.
And just some of the throws that he would make and the angles, and there's no reason he should throw it, and all of a sudden it's a touchdown.
I know it. Then you got Aaron Rodgers. He just throws a Hail Mary all the time and just hopes to, for some reason, people catch it.
Yeah, I think he's got a little bit more talent behind his arm than just throwing it up, but he's a different approach than Favre, there's no doubt.
You give more credit than I'll ever give him.
Yeah, like I said, he's pretty good. I just don't like the way he approaches some things. We'll leave it at that.
And mark my words, if the Vikings are ever dumb enough to do that, bring him in, I will not watch the Minnesota.
I don't think that'll happen. I really don't.
I don't either.
I agree with you. I hope it doesn't happen because I'll take their chances with Kirk Cousins for the next year or two, and then let Kellen Mond see what he can do.
It has been, for Viking fans, it has been a long, long contract of Kirk Cousins.
See, I'm not as down on Kirk Cousins as most people are. His numbers are still pretty good, and considering the offensive line or lack thereof that he's had to play behind.
Yeah, true.
And to be honest with you, I don't know if they addressed that problem very well this offseason or not, but we'll find out in a few weeks.
Yeah, that's true. On paper, he looks great.
Yeah,
but
he does. He actually does.
On the field, it's like, oh, come on, Kurt. Get a little bit. Well, yeah.
Well, the thing is, too, people complain about how much money we gave him. There were teams that offered him more money than we did.
Well, see, that just shows how dumb he is.
It shows how much he cares about winning. He thought he had a better chance of winning in Minnesota than he did the Jets or wherever else who offered him more money.
Has he never watched the Minnesota Vikings?
Well, there is a history there.
A little bit. We have no kicker. The best kickers in the NFL come to Minnesota, and they fall apart.
Yeah, it's a different world. But like all fans, this is the year, right? This is the year things are going to be different.
Let's see. Depending on how long you've been a Viking fan, 10 years, you've been talking about that for 20, 30, 40. Your whole entire family string is been through the whole thing.
Well, let's put it this way. I think my first vivid memory of the Vikings was the Drew Pearson pushing Nate Wright in the playoffs. I should have known at that point to give up.
You can catch more on the Jay and Pete Minnesota Vikings podcast. And,
I was just going to say, we need to transition this into a different format.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be getting started when the football season starts.
Yep.
Some of what you're going to get. A bunch of complaining from Jay and being optimistic with Pete.
That's kind of the roles we play.
All right, Pete. Well, don't work too hard for the rest of the week, and we'll talk to you again next week. All right.
Actually, I'm off next week, Jay. It's going to be a couple weeks. So.
Oh, look at that. See, Pete, he doesn't even work all the time.
You wore me out with this Vikings talk. I'm all stressed out now. I got to take some time.
You're right. Better take it 2 weeks instead.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right.
All right, Pete. Have a good week. All right.
All right. You do the same, Jay.
That's the good stuff.